Alright guys, I finally got the rest of my seeds, so we're going to go ahead and plant them. Before we do that, I want to talk about a couple things that might make your life easier if you're growing hot peppers, or especially super hot peppers. This year I picked up a thermostat and this nice heat mat here, because if you're going to grow hot peppers, I guess you really don't need one, but if you're going to grow super hot peppers, you definitely need to bring the soil temperature up. So depending on where you live and what your temperatures are like, you're definitely going to want to bring the temperature up to between 75 and 80 degrees. Pretty cheap on Amazon. I think I spent 30 bucks on the combination, so that should make life pretty easy. It's got a probe, so it goes right into the dirt. You can kind of tell exactly what your temperature is. I did pick up a grow light. You're going to need that if you're going to start your plants early inside. We'll talk about that later once we actually get sprouted. So to cover the basics here, general sprouting seeding tray does have a cover. I've already gone ahead and added water to it, so you can see that the little peat pots are already swelled. These particular ones already have holes in them. I don't know if you can see that, but we'll try to get a better view here. So essentially, all you're going to do is stick your seeds inside, about a 1/4 inch deep, which should be already set. Cover them up, and then we'll move on to the next step. Typically, you throw 3 or 4 seeds in each hole in hopes that one will take off. The seeds that I bought this year are about a 90% germination rate, so I'm going to try 1 seed in each hole and we'll see how it goes from there. I guess if it doesn't, I'll have extras. It's early enough that we can start more. So I'll go ahead and put the seeds in there and then we'll come back. This is a good time to add, I guess, if your holes aren't predetermined. It's pretty easy to just take a pen or a pencil, just kind of stick it down about a 1/4 inch, and you'll have a good hole that you can then just kind of squish and cover back up. That's the easiest way that I've found to do it. And also, before you start, it's always nice to just make a little map of what you're planting and where you're planting it. That way you have some idea of what you have. A lot of guys will mark them, but it's just as easy to mark it on a piece of paper and not have sticks sticking all over, especially when you put the lid on it. So while I fast forward the video, because nobody wants to watch me plant 50 individual seeds, thought it'd be a good idea to talk about the watering steps over the germination period. You want to keep them moist, but you don't want to overwater it. You want to kind of think about it like nature. It doesn't rain every day in nature, so you can't water them every day. All you're going to do is drown them out and they're never going to germinate. So it's best to every 2 or 3 days add water as needed, just to keep them nice and moist, but not so much that it's sitting in the bottom. And when you do add water, if your goal is to keep your soil temperature up, you don't want to add cold water. You actually want to add room temperature or lukewarm water. It's just going to further help keep that temperature up. And if you're using a lid, it kind of keeps that moisture level higher because it keeps the air temperature hotter. Alright guys, this is it. Carolina Reaper's the last one's going in for the year. It. So I'm going to go ahead and get my heat mat set up with the thermostat. It's all buttoned up, and then I'll show you guys the finished product. Alright guys, so this is the finished product. I got my heat mat under it, got the thermostat plugged in. You can see, get the probe in one of the corners closest to the Carolina Reapers because that's the one that's going to take the most heat. So I want to make sure this stays warm enough. I have most of my regular hot peppers in here, anything habanero and below, just because I've had good success with not having a heat mat under them, so I don't think it's really necessary for those. Also, don't need the grow lights on yet, just kind of using it because it's dark in the corner, so until the seedlings start sprouting, there's actually no reason to have them on, so as soon as we're done with this, I'll turn those off. And yeah, that's pretty much that. So hopefully this helped you guys having a little bit of confidence in starting your own plants, maybe even your own Superhots. Any questions, just go ahead and ask. I guess until they start to sprout. We'll see you guys again.